Good afternoon, all. Thank you all so much for joining us. We are here today with the University of Richmond. Thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. Students, please don't forget that we have weekly sessions at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. So check out our bit.ly/GPC virtual for the full schedule. At this time, I'm gonna let University of Richmond take over so that we can learn more about it.
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Nadine Saint. I'm a Senior Assistant Director at University of Richmond, coming to you live from my home. So I hope everybody is staying safe and well during these kind of tricky times. So today I'm going to share with you just a little bit about University of Richmond. In the chat, I am going to send the link to fill out your information. This way you'll just get a follow-up email from me as your territory manager. So we do travel to and read the applications of specific territories, and I'll kind of get into that towards the end of the presentation. So I would be the one reviewing your application and your point of contact for any questions that you might have about University of Richmond. I am an alumna of University of Richmond as well, so a little bit biased, certainly in my experience. Loved it so much that I wanted to come back. So I'm going to go ahead and get started sharing my screen here. To tell you a little bit about Richmond. So we were founded in 1830, actually, downtown in the city of Richmond. We were founded as a men's college, Richmond College. And then some years later, in 1914, West Hampton College for Women was founded, and we moved to our location just outside the city of Richmond to have both Richmond and West Hampton College alongside each other. Now we are completely University of Richmond, so this is a co-educational experience. Richmond College and West Hampton College kind of structure us in a traditional sense, but everyday life is going to be like a regular co-educational experience. This is a bird's eye view of our campus. It is an incredibly beautiful place. So once all of this has passed, hopefully you'll get a chance to come experience it in person. But we do have a robust virtual tour that is on our homepage, just admission.richmond.edu. And there you can just explore a little bit more of your different interests, a little bit more in depth, and see our beautiful campus. So just to contextualize kind of where we are within the city and kind of what that means in terms of the benefits of our location. We are a suburban campus. You can see that from the picture, and we're a residential campus. So about 94% of our students live on campus all 4 years. So it's very much a strong sense of community. And while you have a lot to take advantage of on campus, there's a lot surrounding you as well. So we're about 6 miles from downtown Richmond. It would take you probably anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes to get downtown. And you can see kind of in the background here, the city skyline. So we have a great accessible city in our back pocket. The city of Richmond has a lot of personality. It's kind of quirky and quaint, has a lot of history, and a lot of a local flair to it. We're really proud of our restaurant scene. We have lots of restaurants. We're a big foodie town. And we are also known as a river city. So the James River runs through Richmond and is a great access point for any kind of outdoor adventure, hiking, biking, whitewater rafting, or just, you know, laying on the rocks with your friends for a day on a nice afternoon. We're 2 hours from the beach, 2 hours from the mountains, and on a good day, 2 hours from Washington, D.C., if there's not too much traffic. So it's a 2-hour drive, but you can also take the train. We have 2 train stations in Richmond, so it makes these kind of big areas really accessible to our students. So I touched a little bit about the city of Richmond. We are the capital of Virginia, so that provides to a lot of opportunities for our students if they're interested in politics and getting involved on that scale. And I mentioned being the river city, so the James River really forms the foundation, I think, of our character as a city, and is a great place to get outdoors and explore. More than 900 restaurants in Richmond. Like I said, we're a big foodie town, so this time has been a little bit tough, but I have been probably eating more takeout than ever to support our local businesses and restaurants. So we have a fun takeaway on campus too, with a list of kind of our favorites. It's tough to pick, certainly, but one of the places that I really love is actually around the corner from my house. It's called Fuzzy Cactus, and they have really, really good biscuits. So I know that you all are probably all too familiar with good biscuits, but you won't have to leave that at home, certainly coming to Richmond. So a little bit about academics at University of Richmond and what that looks like. We're structured by 3 schools. So we have the School of Arts and Sciences, the Jepson School of Leadership Studies, and the Robbins School of Business. Starting with our School of Arts and Sciences, this is where everyone begins their academic journey at Richmond. So when you're applying to University of Richmond, you don't have to worry about having to pick your major, pick which school you want to apply to. Everyone is beginning in the same boat. So we don't admit to a specific school or major. And that's really kind of the foundation of our liberal arts education, right? The idea that you get to try a little bit of everything before you settle into your academic niche. We understand that you're probably going to change your mind 1 to 10 times as you explore different academic areas. So this is a great place to start, and about 70% of our students remain within the School of Arts and Sciences. Next is the Jepson School of Leadership Studies. Now this is one of, if not the most unique offering academically that we have. So the School of Leadership Studies was actually founded at University of Richmond. We were the first to offer a school in leadership studies. Now you might be thinking, what the heck is a degree in leadership studies? It's not so much going to be taking classes like A through Z and now like I'm a leader. It's more looking at what leadership has been in the past, what it currently is, and what it could be in the future. So what maybe that idealized version of leadership looks like. So it has a lot to do with conflict resolution, social justice issues, and studying kind of the pitfalls and merits of different leadership styles. This is a school that you do have to apply to, but again, not something that you have to worry about until your sophomore year. So at Richmond, we actually don't allow students to declare their major until sophomore year. So you'll take Leadership 101 and 102 to decide if maybe that's the right fit for you. And then if you want to choose to major or minor within leadership studies, you would apply your sophomore year. You can also apply up until your junior year as well. So that door is really always open. There are leadership classes offered pretty much in every department at Richmond. So it kind of touches on all academic disciplines, which again makes it pretty unique. Our students graduating from leadership studies have gone on to do a number of different things. One of my friends that I actually really love to brag about is a cybersecurity policy expert. Now, she never took computer science in her life at University of Richmond, but she got into consulting, found a job in DC, really liked it, and liked the aspects of cybersecurity. So she actually worked at the Security Exchange Commission, and most recently changed jobs and is working for the US Treasury. We've also had students graduate with leadership degrees who've gone into finance, gone on to law school. There's really a number of different things that you can do with this degree. All right, so Robbins School of Business for students interested in business. Again, this is a really unique program because it is settled within the liberal arts experience. So you don't have to apply to the business school, you just have to complete 3 prerequisite classes, accounting, calculus, and econ, and have a minimum 2.7 GPA. Once you check those boxes as a pre-business student, you can start your education within the business school. So we do have degrees in business administration where you would choose a concentration like international business, for example. And then we also have degrees in econ and accounting. So really to have this top-rated business school nestled within the liberal arts education tends to be a great selling point for our students, because not only are they really getting that baseline business education, but they're also getting the soft skills of what a liberal arts education is building for you, which is to think critically, write well, communicate effectively. So you're very much positioning yourself to do kind of whatever it is that you want after graduation. So while we do have 3 schools and lots of areas of study, most of our students are actually combining them in some form or fashion. So it really is the majority of our students that maybe have a double major or minor, but it's very easy to do that, to combine your interests. You know, I knew a student who was a triple major, and bless her, but she had math, Spanish, and dance as her majors, and she graduated on time. So you are really able to explore all aspects of your interests while you're at Richmond, and really encouraged to do so. So while you are exploring certainly the city of Richmond and your academics on campus, the majority of our students are also exploring the entire world. So you can kind of see a list of different programs that are offered here to study abroad. So over 2/3 of our students are having an international experience. I would say if you're including some short-term study abroad programs, that is likely going to tick up a little bit higher. So if you don't feel like you want to leave an entire semester at Richmond, we do have programs that are designed for summer study abroad, about 6 to 8 weeks. So regardless, you can really find something that interests you, whether you're going for a full language immersion program, or maybe you're just interested in visiting that country. You don't necessarily have to know the language of where you're going if you just have an interest to explore a little bit. So these are just some photos from our students studying abroad. Up here in Italy is actually our women's field hockey team that did an international experience together. And just some other places, New Zealand being my personal favorite, as I got to travel there, not with Richmond, but on a personal trip a couple years ago. But I did not go skydiving. I don't think you could pay me enough to do that. So we definitely want to help you explore the world and different career options, but that can sometimes come at a cost, and we don't want our students to be limited in their ability to experience the world around them. So that's why we started the Richmond Guarantee. The Richmond Guarantee is essentially $4,000 guaranteed to every single undergraduate student for you to have a unpaid or underpaid summer internship or research experience. I think that it's pretty related that the cooler the internship, the less they're going to pay you. So this is a way for our students to embrace really unique opportunities without worrying about the cost of that experience. Or if you're looking for maybe that cool internship on Capitol Hill, but know that it's expensive to live in DC, that $4,000 can really offset the cost of those experiences. And that, again, is just guaranteed funding, $4,000. You just have to secure the experience, and we will secure the funding. And what all of that kind of comes together to mean in the long run is that our students are very successful because they're coming from a well-resourced institution that's going to support them really through every opportunity. So about 94% of our students are placed within either a full-time position, pursuing a graduate degree, or some kind of volunteer service like the Peace Corps. So 94% of our students are placed with a postgraduate experience. Again, kind of speaking to the opportunities that you have at Richmond and the academic preparation to sort of propel you forward after graduation. And this just kind of shows where all of our spiders are around the world. So I'm going to quickly show a video about our graduating class and where they are off to. So hopefully the audio will work.
I came to the University of Richmond because I loved that there was small class sizes while also being on a big campus, and I really wanted to get to know my professors and felt like I found that here.
I saw that the University of Richmond offered a lot of unique things that many other schools, particularly in Virginia, couldn't.
There's just so much that you can do here if you really take advantage of it all, and I mean, from academics to extracurriculars to just student life.
I used the Richmond Guarantee to intern for the Startup Accelerator Lighthouse Labs in Richmond, Virginia.
I interned at Reaching Milestones Through Therapy.
I studied abroad twice, once in New Zealand and once in the Czech Republic.
I'm both excited and nervous for commencement. I'm excited to celebrate with all of my friends, but also nervous to leave the place that I call home.
All the people I've met here and all the friendships I've made, they're definitely going to last no matter where we live or what we go on to do.
Being able to learn from everyone from such different backgrounds and also different majors, minors, interests, and being able to really build off each other is something that I'm going to miss.
I'm really thankful for other professors, student leaders, staff, what they've done to really mentor us and give us the guidance to become who we are today.
The University of Richmond has taught me how to push past my comfort zone and how to explore new things, be curious, and really just take risks.
What I want to do for the rest of my life kind of started because of what I started doing at the University of Richmond.
After graduation, I'll be working as a software engineer at Amazon at their headquarters in Seattle.
I'll be attending Princeton University in their quantitative and computational biology doctoral program.
I will be teaching science at Teach for America in Washington, D.C.
I am traveling the world. I am starting my own company and then also going to work for General Electric.
After graduation, I accepted a position at the Alaska Sea Life Center with the Wildlife Response Team. In the fall, I'm going to be joining a PhD program in chemical, physical, and structural biology at Baylor College of Medicine.
I will be teaching in Germany on a Fulbright grant.
I'll be up in Washington, D.C., and I'll be working in healthcare consulting.
And I'm going to Columbia University for a grad program in publishing.
After the University of Richmond, I'll be attending Ryerson University for a mechanical engineering master's program.
I will be attending the University of Richmond School of Law.
I'm definitely excited to be graduating, but I know at the end of the day, I'm going to miss Richmond. It's an ending and a beginning simultaneously, so I'm excited.
Great. Let's see. We don't need to watch it again. So this is just a little bit about our class of 2023. So kind of moving into who our spiders are on campus. So we have students coming from really all walks of life across the world and across the United States. In order to apply and how you get to Richmond starts with the application. So we have the common application and the coalition application that we require for to apply to Richmond, and we review your application credentials holistically. Another aspect of our review is need blind admission policy. This means for all domestic students that we review applications without needing to know or reviewing your financial aid information. So the financial aid office does their review, admission does their review, and they're completely separate. So a student's ability to pay is not going to be factored into the admission decision. This is just a little bit of information about the academic profile of our students admitted to University of Richmond. But this is a middle 50%. So again, kind of going back to that holistic review, 25% of our students are falling above and below these ranges, but the kind of blue section just gives you a little bit of a target of what we typically see in our admitted student pool. But again, we're looking at all pieces of your application in order to make that decision. And some of those pieces may be what you're involved in. So certainly take some time to tell us about how you spend your time outside of school. There's no magic formula to varsity athlete plus community service equals admit, right? We're not looking for a certain type of activity, but we just want to see kind of what your engagement is like overall outside of the classroom. We have students who might be dedicated to swimming, and they have to be, you know, in the pool every morning at 4 a.m. We have students who might have to dedicate themselves to a job, who are baristas at Starbucks or, you know, what have you. So we see a wide range of what our students are doing, and we just ask that you kind of tell us about what you're involved in. We also want to get to know you a little bit better through the application essay, and then we also have the Richmond question essay. So right now, these are the Richmond question topics, so you get to pick one. So I always say kind of think about your responses and what question speaks most to you and really resonates with you, and then kind of brainstorm from there about what you might want to write about, what you really care about and want to showcase in your application. So we received just over 12,000 applications this year. We seek to enroll anywhere between probably 820 to 800 and as high as 850 students each year. So that can kind of depend, but either way, you're really looking at a small experience. We're just under 3,000 undergraduate students. So the class size being 832, you're looking at a pretty tight-knit community. I would also say among those 800 students admitted or enrolling at Richmond, we typically represent about 600 different high schools. So what that means is you're going to kind of be in the same boat as everybody coming to Richmond wanting to make friends, right? It's not going to be kind of the situation where maybe like your clique in high school is the clique in college and nobody's looking to branch out. Everybody is kind of the new person and wanting to make their community the spider community when they come to Richmond. So it's kind of nice that we get to represent a lot of different places in our first year enrolling class. So I mentioned that holistic review process. What does that mean? It means that your application is being reviewed by a person, and certainly we're looking at your application through your academic history and your test scores, but we're also looking at everything else. And you can see me in the background there, but that's some of my other colleagues as well. So I read the application and then present the application to a committee of about 4 other colleagues at the very least, and then we make an admission decision and let you know. So here are our application deadlines. We have all of the decision plans. So we have early decision 1, early decision 2, early action, and regular decision. So early decision 1 and 2 are going to have that binding element where if you say, if I'm admitted to Richmond, I am definitely coming no matter what. Early action allows you to apply early, find out your admission decision early, but you don't have to have that binding element. So you can take until May 1st, look at all of your other options, and then make your decision. And then we have regular decision as well for those who maybe fell in love with Richmond a little bit later in their timeline or want us to see maybe a full robust first semester of senior grades before choosing to apply. So that deadline is a little bit later. If you do want to be considered for any of our merit-based scholarships, all you have to do is complete your application by December 1st. So regardless of the decision plan that you choose, if you just complete your application by December 1, you're in consideration for our Richmond Scholars scholarship. So speaking of affordability and aid, almost 70% of our students receive some sort of financial aid, whether that's merit or need-based aid. And so we are very committed to making Richmond a reality for our students. So this is just kind of the breakdown of the numbers and the average grant cost, which is just under $46,000 for most students. So I mentioned that need-based aid is a part of what we offer at Richmond. So we do meet 100% of need-based aid. So that is not a factor in the admission review, but should you be admitted, then we will meet 100% of that need. So that means that in that calculation of that free application for federal student aid, they come up with a number of your estimated family contribution. Whatever the gap between that number and our total cost of attendance, Richmond will make up with university grant aid, which is aid that you do not have to pay back. So I did mention the December 1st deadline to be considered for Richmond Scholars. About 1 in 8 students receive a merit scholarship, and there's 2 that we offer. That Richmond Scholars is a full tuition room and board scholarship, and the Presidential Scholarship is a third tuition scholarship. We just had a question, are student loans a part of financial aid awards? Yes, so there is a self-help portion, but we cap the amount of loans in a student's package. So that's going to be $4,000 in the first year, $6,000 in the second, and then $7,000 and $7,000 in junior and senior year. So we do cap the amount of loans that we would package with a student. So the Richmond Scholars Program, like I said, apply by December 1st. We seek to enroll about 25 students each year for that scholarship. And the Presidential Scholarship, anywhere we seek to enroll 80 to 100 students depending on the year. The Bonner Scholars Program is for students who are particularly passionate about community service, and those students can apply for a scholarship after they've chosen to enroll at Richmond for a stipend. You just have to maintain about 10 hours of community service a week, and we actually have the largest Bonner Scholars Program in the entire country. So I know that was a lot of information. Obviously, you're not going on your campus tour right now, but I would encourage the virtual tour if you have some time today or in the near future to see us virtually. That would be great. But I do just want to take some time to answer any questions that you all might have. I know that was kind of a lot of information.
We did get one question during your presentation. And we're gonna let students type anything else that they may have in mind. are student loans a part of financial aid awards?
Yes, so student loans may be a part of your financial aid award, but we cap the number of loans per year. We are need blind in our admission review process for U.S. students, U.S. citizens, and permanent residents. So we are need aware in our admission process for undocumented or international students. Okay, let's see. Study abroad a little bit. Great, yeah. So as I mentioned, about 2/3 of our students will study abroad at University of Richmond. We have programs in about 70 different, programs in about 30 different countries. So you can really look to go kind of wherever you would like. And typically students study abroad the fall of their junior year. That has been kind of the trend for a number of years, but you could go abroad as early as your sophomore year as well. But it tends to be popular because you just kind of settled into what your major is and maybe don't want to miss any of your senior year. So really robust opportunities. We also offer a cultural stipend for students. So if you are studying abroad, you receive about a $500 stipend to explore the place that you're studying abroad. So that's just sort of guaranteed funding for you to go to museums, check out restaurants, really kind of embed yourself into another culture. And we do a lot of work as well for students returning from study abroad experiences. So we have a program that is designed to kind of just reacclimate you back to Richmond, because there can be kind of that reverse culture shock, right? Coming back to the United States and getting back in the routine of Richmond. And so it's kind of a meditation, a reflection on your time, and really understanding, you know, how that was impactful, because we don't want your study abroad experience to just be, you know, oh my gosh, it was amazing, it was so much fun. You know, we want it to be an impactful experience, not only to you personally, but also for you to bring that experience back to our campus, right? And make sure that we are creating a community that is culturally competent. What % of students are out of state? So actually about 18%, I believe, are students from Virginia. So a majority of our students are actually coming from out of state. About a third are coming from the South. So we are certainly seeing students from all over the country. I would say Mid-Atlantic, Northeast tends to be a little bit of our bread and butter. We have a lot of students interested in coming to Richmond from that area, but you'll see students from, you know, far away as California. My colleague Heather, she is from Seattle, Washington. She just graduated 2 years ago, and about 10% of our students are international students. So housing is not technically guaranteed all 4 years at Richmond, but like I said, about 94% of our students choose to live on campus all 4 years. So our housing really does bend over backwards in order to make on-campus housing work for every student. It is the rare occasion that we are unable to house a student on campus if they are requesting it. I would say that the reason that maybe students don't live on campus as upperclassmen is because they're just ready to have a different experience, or perhaps they didn't get the very specific residence hall that they wanted, because after you're assigned a residence in freshman year, it is a lottery system after that, based on picking your room in residence hall. We don't have any scholarships specifically for out-of-state students. Because we are a private institution, we don't have any in-state or out-of-state kind of requirements in our enrollment. So everybody's sort of treated the same in that aspect from cost, but all students, again, are reviewed for that Richmond Scholars or that presidential scholarship. All right, why would the University of Richmond be a good option for North Carolina students? That's a great question. I find there to be a lot of similarities, certainly between Virginia and North Carolina in terms of sort of that sense of, I think, community, comfort, a sense of home, and it's a place to, I think, stretch you and feel a little bit far away from home, but maybe not too far away from home. You know, it's only a few hour drive to get to Richmond, so you're close, but not too far away. So I think that's one of the selling points. For me personally, I am from Virginia and went to University of Richmond, but I was about an hour and a half away. So I felt, you know, still closely connected to my home and, you know, able to get home if I needed, but really was spending most of my time, you know, on campus, certainly. So I think the distance for me seems to be ideal, where it's far enough away but not too far. All right, any qualities or attributes come to mind when thinking of a student that would be a good fit for your campus community? Yes, so we recently did kind of a survey of our students to kind of talk about what they find to be the personality and the feel of our campus. And one of the big takeaways was a key word, I guess, that kept coming up was ambition. Our students are very ambitious, and that can mean a lot of different things, right? Like, you're ambitious and you see yourself doing something kind of beyond yourself, contributing to the bigger picture. Our students are ambitious with their time, so they like to fit in a lot of different things. I would say if you are looking for a community where you're just gonna sit in your residence hall all day, Richmond is not going to be the place for you. Richmond is a place where students should feel comfortable with not being anonymous. You're going to be in a average class size, 16 students. So there's really nowhere to hide, for better or worse. But that also means that there's really never an opportunity to fall through the cracks, because you have your professors, your staff, your deans that are all looking out for you and making sure that you're going to be successful. So it really is a place of engagement for our students. On-campus social life, what would a student need? Would a student need a car to access the city? Yeah, so there's certainly a lot going on campus socially, whether you're, you know, spending some time going to like an improv show or a movie in the Commons. There's a lot of entertainment that's happening on campus. But you wouldn't need a car to access the city. Our City of Richmond bus line actually stops through campus, and every student, staff, and faculty member does receive a free bus pass. We also have a location downtown. It's called UR Downtown, and this serves as kind of the hub for our some of our community service events, as well as some small classroom space. It's just really like one building. It's not a separate campus by any means, but there's also a cafe. So if you, let's say, like had an internship downtown, you would be able to grab lunch on your meal plan. So it's very easy. So we have a shuttle that will run downtown. We also partner with Uber. So you get free rides on demand to go to the downtown location. So you could at least get to that point and kind of move about in the city. We also have Zipcar on campus if you want to rent a car for a couple hours. And then we have a shuttle that does kind of the mall, Target, Walmart loop. So by no means is it necessary to have a car on campus. If you do have a car, you can bring it to campus. There are no limitations on students bringing a car to campus. A challenge that I face as a student, and how did I overcome it? Yeah, let's see. I think one of the biggest challenges that I faced was receiving a D on a paper in my freshman year. And never really having seen that before. You know, all of a sudden in high school, you are kind of maybe used to achieving in a certain way, right? And you've been challenged and you've sort of met that challenge, and the whole time you're sort of trying to be perfect, right? There's no room for mistake. And I think in college that really shifts, because you do have a little bit maybe more leeway and sense of exploration to be challenged. And seeing maybe that first bad grade on an assignment is really jarring, but it's okay. And that was really tough to face at first, is to kind of learn from that experience and say, okay, you don't have to be perfect all the time. This doesn't reflect on who you are as a person or what your ability is to achieve, but it just gives you kind of a jumping off point to move forward and understand that kind of room for improvement. So that's definitely tough, and I think something that our students, or that I'm not alone in having faced, is sort of that, maybe that academic challenge and transition, moving to, you know, a different academic environment.
Students, if you have any more questions, please feel free to use this time to ask. On behalf of the Game Plan College team, we do want to thank you so much for joining us this afternoon and sharing a little bit about the University of Richmond. Sure. We hope to keep in touch with you, and we did get one more question.
Student demographics. Yeah, sure. I'm actually just gonna go back really quick just to share that with you guys. Slide up. Okay, so this just gives a little bit of breakdown of our demographics of our class of 2023. We also have a student profile on our website too, if you would like to have that information too of the academic piece as well.
Great. Most popular majors.
Sure. Okay, so I would say that I'll say within the arts and sciences, because I think business and leadership are kind of their own thing, right? Probably psychology, political science, international studies, and biology are probably our top within arts and sciences. So this just means that there are a higher number of students within those majors, but regardless of sort of the most popular to the smallest majors that are offered, everything at Richmond is going to be strong. So from graduating, maybe like 80 biology majors to maybe 6 classic majors a year, everybody's kind of not having to worry about the strength in that program, right? Like we wouldn't offer it if it wasn't a quality program. So depending on how niche your interests are, you can typically find that, at Richmond, certainly.
Okay, I don't see any more questions, but yes, students, please don't forget to fill the link that Ms. Christina just shared if you want to stay in touch with Richmond. And also don't forget to fill out our feedback survey. That's how we know how to continue to serve you better. And again, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys. Appreciate it.